Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk / Gazetta. As you can see, I'm not in the studio. I'm not outside Old Trafford. I'm in my kitchen, but we're going to be in the studio later on today for the watch along. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe and join us for that. I want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and with your support, we will get there. I want to talk about the stories doing the rounds this morning. It looks like the embargoed quotes have come out from Erik Ten Hag. They came out last night. You know how the embargo works. There's always a little bit from the press conference that is sort of held back for the Sundays. And this one today, the big quote from it is basically Erik Ten Hag saying that he thinks the fans back him. That if they don't back him, they don't really have any knowledge, is what he's saying here. He was asked about his, sort of where he's at and the fans and all that jazz. And he said, I think the fans have the patience. You've seen it on Monday. Obviously referring to the fans chanting and singing about the team, getting behind the team after that defeat at Crystal Palace. At Selhurst Park, the fans were very, very vocal. He says, I see some comments, they don't have any knowledge of football, or they don't have any knowledge about managing a football team, or they just aren't up to it. I think there are many people who see the problems and they are patient. So he's sort of saying the fans back him. They've got knowledge. The fans back him. He's got their support. I'm trying to sort of make sure I don't take this out of context or misconstrue what he's saying here, because he said, I see some comments they don't. Either they don't have any knowledge of football, or they don't have any knowledge about managing a football team, or they just aren't up to it. I think there are many people who see the problems and they are patient. So it's weird, because you could say, is he saying that the fans there that don't back him don't have any knowledge, or is he saying the ones that say the fans don't back him are the ones that don't have any knowledge? You see what I'm saying there? It's not 100% clear there. And it's easy for some people have jumped on it and said, well, that's him saying that if you don't back him as a fan, you don't have any knowledge. And others are saying, well, actually, he's not. What he's really saying is that the people who claim the fans don't back him are the ones that don't really have any knowledge. I mean, yeah, you can see where he's going with that one. I think it's the latter. I think he's saying there that people are saying that he hasn't been back, don't really have any knowledge. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Romano's tweeted as well. He said, Erik Ten Hag on people asking for him to be sacked. I see some comments. Either they don't have any knowledge of football, or they don't have any knowledge about managing a football team. So he's saying that, look, if you're calling for him to be sacked, you don't have any knowledge about football. A bit harsh, that, to be said, to be honest. I know some people who I respect completely who think Erik Ten Hag should go. And that doesn't mean they don't have any knowledge about football. I think it's difficult if you're watching what you're watching week in, week out to not question this manager. I've said it a million times. I'd give him next season. Loads of people, and I'm guessing you'll be in the comments right now saying, Jay, what is it? Why are you saying that? Why do you keep saying this? He's not up to it. Some people saying he is. I think there's a divide from what I've seen, from the people in the comments, from people I chat to. Sometimes I do actually chat to people face to face. It's not all online. People in my group chats, when I go to the games and chat to people, there's a split. And a lot may depend on what happens between now and the end of the season. If you beat Arsenal today, if you beat Newcastle and Brighton we've got left, and then you beat City as well, I mean, big ifs here, then maybe you turn a lot of people around, including Ineos, because let's have it right. The only opinions that matter are those of Dave Brailsford, Omar Barada, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So everything else is pretty academic. But yeah, he's pushing back there. He's also spoken about Manchester United in general, other stuff as well. He said, this is a massive club, and you only realise that when you first come in, the things you have to face. But I wanted to take on this challenge, and have not had 1 second when I regret that decision. I am really happy to be here. I did my job, and in the first year, I would say it was a good formation. We played to our levels. Maybe we overperformed. In this one, we haven't, and I know why, but we are still in the FA Cup final, and that is a great achievement. I don't mind the manager fighting back. I don't. When he sort of comes out with stupidness like, oh, we're the most entertaining team in the league and we perform really well after a bad game where we've been battered, he comes across as slightly unhinged. But when he's sort of pushing back and trying to defend himself in press conferences, I don't mind that. I want a bit of a fight from my manager. And I think sometimes he gets a little bit more criticism because of the way he's in press conference. In press conferences, he's not as charismatic as other managers, and he can come across as a little bit like a school teacher or whatever. And I think that sometimes undermines him a little bit. No, that's not the be all and end all. If you're winning football matches, no one cares. The results are what matters the most. But I don't think he's helped by the fact that he's not as warm and friendly as some managers can be. Obviously, the big game today, looking at the Premier League table, Arsenal are 2 points behind Manchester City. They've both got 2 games left. If Arsenal lose today, it's done in it, really, to be honest with you. If we beat Arsenal, I should say, the way I worded that was a bit weird. City have got Spurs away. Spurs won't want to do Arsenal any favours, but it's not a given. And they've got West Ham at home on the final day of the season. Look, if City needs to win the West Ham game at home on the final day of the season, they're going to win it. And it might not even come to that. That might be a dead rubber. That might not even matter. But the Arsenal, as soon as they lost to Villa at home, it was over, wasn't it, really? Looking at Arsenal, they've got us today. They've got Everton at home, another easy one. And that's their lot. So, I think anything less than a win today for Arsenal and their title challenge is over. I know there's been a bit of kidology here about, and I've been guilty of it. Oh, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if United didn't win today. I want to beat Arsenal. Of course I do. Beat them, get a little bit of momentum going before the FA Cup final. Just looking at the table there, Chelsea winning yesterday is thrown a spanner in the works, and it with their goal difference, it's like they've got an extra point as well. The 3 points ahead of us. If we win, unless we win 16-0, we're going to be behind them on goal difference. So, it's going to be difficult to get above them. And looking at Newcastle as well. Newcastle are in 6th. They're on the same points, and they've got even better goal difference. They're on 57 points, same points as Chelsea. I think winning the FA Cup gets you into the Europa League, doesn't it? I don't want the Europa Conference, but Europa League I'll have. Win the FA Cup, happy days. Just on the injury front as well. Looks like Marcus Rashford and... it says here, I'm just looking at the Metro. It says Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay should be available. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes missing something was a bit of a shock. I think there's other players as well that have been training. I think Lisandro Martinez has been training. He's not expected to feature, though. I think, according to this, certainly not expected to start, even though United do have a lot of problems. Mason Mount suffering another injury setback as well. That was a bit of a blow. Marcus Rashford, that's not the right one. Marcus Rashford is in contention, it says here, in the Metro. So we'll have to wait and see there. Probably going to be a bit of a makeshift team again. Going to be difficult. Obviously, Arsenal are flying the second for a reason. And they'll fancy the chances today against the United team that is struggling. And we're on course for our worst ever points tally. We're currently sat in 8th with a goal difference of -3. 1 win in our last, what's that? Well, certainly on our last 5, I think you have to go back a bit further as well than that. So, it's not been a happy camp, has it, at the minute for Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. But a win against Arsenal could get us going again. Look, even if we can, it doesn't matter whether we lose to Arsenal in terms of title race. City are going to win the league. Even if we lost to Arsenal, City win the league. So, I know there's been a bit of, there's no point in hoping United lose to Arsenal, even if you could do that anyway, because it ain't going to make a blind bit of difference. City will win the league. We all know that. But it is what it is. United just need to focus on our job. Beat Arsenal, beat Newcastle, beat Brighton, and beat City in the FA Cup final. Let's end the season on a high. And then Erik ten Hag can make the case for him staying as Manchester United manager, because according to him, those of us with knowledge are backing him. Do you agree? Get involved in the chat in the comments. Make sure you join us for the watch along. We're going to go live at 3:30 today. If you've not done already, film yourself like that in landscape. Send us your score prediction to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. I've been Jay Motty. This has been the Paper Talk Gazetta Sunday. It's usually Gazetta, innit? Thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, the weather, it is pretty sunny in sunny Salford. I didn't see any northern lights last night, though.